Okay, so today we shall look at reading tests. So for our reading tests, I just would like to explain a few things about reading. Now, reading test is the aspect of the Ielts test where you are being evaluated on your ability to pay attention to details. Your ability to pay attention to details. That volume is distracting. Now, you are given passages to read, and you are expected to read the contents of the passage, read the questions, provide your answers from the passages you have read. Now, very importantly, a reading test, it is considered to be the easiest part of IELTS test. The reading test is considered to be the easiest part of IELTS test. And this is ironical, right? Because a lot of people feel reading is the most difficult. But the IELTS examiners find it to be the easiest. What's the reason? Unlike in listening tests, where you do three things at the same time, in listening tests, you multitask. I know a lot of people may not know, but in listening tests, you multitask. What are these things you do at the same time? You read, you listen, and you write at the same time. If you fail to do these three at the same time, you miss answers. So what do you read in listening tests? You read the instruction, know what you are supposed to do, read the question and know what to expect from the audio. Then you listen as the audio plays, you read along to follow the audio, right? So as you listen and read, when you hear your answer, what must you do? You write. These three things in listening tests you must do at the same time. If you fail to do them, you miss answers. But IELTS marking scheme for listening tests feels like you are multitasking. So a lot of things go on in your mind. One, you are not a native English speaker. Two, you battle with a lot of things to hear and get the right information and write at the same time. So because of that, the marking scheme is very mild. So when you score about 26, 28, 20, 26, 27, 28 in listening test, that might be giving you around 6.0, right? Listening test, around 6.0. Listening test, pardon?
For which?
Listening test,
26 to
28 may be giving you around 6.0 or 6.5, right? But in reading tests, if you score 6.28, you will still be around 5.0 or 5.5. See the margin. So why is there a difference? They feel listening test you're multitasking. But in reading tests, the IELTS examiners consider the reading test to be the easiest because you have the information that you're supposed to read right on your question paper. So all they expect you to do is read. Now, the questions are there too. All they expect you to do is read the questions, go to the passage, get your answer. Secondly, why it is considered to be the easiest is you are free to read multiple times in reading test. If you're a fast reader, you can cover a passage like 2-3 times, right? And also, when you are looking for your answer, you can scan a particular passage over time to get your answer. But in listening test, once a particular section of the audio is given, it's gone forever. It's never played twice. So they feel there is so much going on around you when it's listening test. By reading test, it's at your own discretion and liberty to treat your reading as many times as you can to get your answers correct. So this is the reason the marking scheme for reading test is very strict, because they feel everything is right there for you. All you need to do is pay attention, read carefully, get your answers. Right? So for you to do well in your reading test, you need to score high. And for you to score high in listening in reading test, you need to improve on your reading skills and speed. And improving on your reading skills and speed requires you to build enough vocabulary so that when you find a particular vocabulary in the reading test, you already know what it means because you have also built that over time. So these are major things that affect people in reading. Now, let's take, for instance, in Africa, it is alleged that Africans don't read. Africans don't have good reading culture. In fact, it is said that by one of the news organizations, news outfit, international news outfit, it said that if you want to hide something from the blacks, from Africans, put it in writing. And somehow that's very correct. You and I don't read. And if you want to even read, you feel it is something that may be either related to your profession for your growth, or you're reading something on the internet that is amusing you. You are very much interested in it, or you're reading something that you need to get you exposed to someone's life exposure. Maybe a popular person. You saw a caption. The secret has been exposed. You want to know that secret. But you don't ordinarily sit to read to be educated on vast issues. Let me give you an instance. When you go to open your bank account, when you go to open a bank account with a bank, do you read their terms and conditions? You never. It's very difficult. Out of 100 people, it may be just 2 persons that will take their time to read the terms and conditions of opening an account. You will sign, but you don't know what you have signed. So when something happens and you sue them, they open their terms and conditions and show to you. You signed it. You go through. So what you are fighting them against is written, but you did not read that you signed. So same thing happens. If there are some children in the house, when their parents want to punish them, they give them something to read. When a child is so lousy, naughty, disturbing in the house, they just tell them, "Hi, Brian, come and read. Sit here, read. You tell me what is written in here at the end of 30 minutes. Just in 2 minutes." That child does not. Even some adults, if they take something to read, that's the only time the sleep will come very fast. So it's assumed or alleged that blacks don't have good reading culture. And because of that, it's now affecting a lot of people's reading test performances. So when they see the passages, it's boring to them just by seeing it. They've not even started reading what the content is all about because it's not their habit to read. Now, let's look at some of the things that may help us to have a good reading test experience and performance. These are the things we call the 3 T's, the important keys called the 3 T's. The 3 T's right here are the trick, which is also called the bracket trick. Then we have the tips, and of course we have the techniques. A reading test, for us to begin, let's look at trick. I think we treated trick yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering.
Yes, they are related. So you also apply bracket trick around your answers in reading test. You apply bracket trick. But there are things you have to understand. During your listening test, training, the application of bracket trick begins from what category of instruction? Based on what we learned during listening test. The application of bracket trick begins from where? No more than one word. Right? For listening test, it begins from no more than one word. And this is where we tend to consider the one word, whether it should be in singular or plural. Right? That's why we now have to consider if the S should be there, then we put that S in bracket beside the word. So that since we are not so sure of the pronunciation from the audio, we just want to play safe by putting the plural indicator in bracket. We also consider maybe date of birth, where you put the superscript TH, ST, RD, ND in bracket when you're writing date of birth. We also considered money when it has to do with currencies, dollar, pounds, euro, yen, naira, whatever it is that may appear on your question paper. Where we learned that if the question does not show the symbol or the spelled version of the currency, but the audio says it, that's where you then write the currency symbol and leave it in brackets, right? Even time. We also learned about time, the 24 hours format and the 12 hours format, where Ielts does more of the 12 hours and not 24 hours. So when you are treating time, if there is nothing indicating the time of the day, maybe morning, afternoon, or evening, or night, or if there is no such information as AM or PM on your question and the audio says it, you then write your AM or PM and put it in bracket, right? In reading test, we do not apply the bracket trick around answers where instruction says no more than one word and or a number. We don't apply the bracket trick. Why? The reason we don't apply the bracket trick around answers from section that say no more than one word or a number is because when you read a passage or an information from the reading text, you will definitely get an answer, a one-word answer from a sentence. Is that correct? Your answer will come from a sentence, right? Now that one word was used in the right template, in the right format that makes sense in that particular sentence structure. If the word is supposed to be a singular word, then it will be used as a singular word in that sentence where you pick it up from. If it's supposed to be a plural word, it's going to be written as a plural word in the sentence where you are going to pick it out from. And if it's in a singular or plural format, it's perfectly correct in that sentence. So let's assume that a word is in a singular form. A word is used as a singular word in a sentence, and you found it as your answer. And then write it on your answer paper. And you are considering putting the plural indicator, which means S in bracket, from nowhere. You just cut it out. Let me just add S. If you do that, you have annulled your answer. Because putting the S to make it a plural option in a sentence, it will not make sense based on sentence structure. Do you understand this? So, in any section where you're treating any section that says no more than one word and or a number, when you find an answer, just do copy and paste. Do not consider if you have to put bracket around any S. For no more than one word. In reading text, don't bring in bracket trick. For no more than one word, do not bring in bracket trick. If your answer is supposed to be a singular word, find it in a sentence or the passage, copy the way it's written, and paste it on your answer sheet. If the answer is supposed to be money, copy the way it's written. Especially, you have discovered that the passage or the sentence that is the question they are providing answers to, if the sentence has the dollar symbol, you don't need to bring in dollar symbol and put a bracket. No, just write the field, right? If it is about time, you don't need to put AM or PM when the sentence where you are getting your answer from has shown that it's morning or afternoon. Just copy the time and write. So it goes on and on. But when you are treating a section that says no more than 2 words and or a number under reading text, you can apply the bracketry. How? The same way you learned for listening test, where you get your 2-word answer and establish the one that is the main answer. We learned that yesterday, 2 days ago, right? When you find your 2-word answer from the sentence or the passage, you write on your answer paper. Then out of the 2 words, you would factor out which is my main answer and which is the supporting answer. So what should be in brackets? The supporting answer will be in brackets. The main answer has to be left open. Please, do you understand this?
Does it have a situation?
Yes, in written text, you begin the application of bracketry from 2 words. So you can apply the bracketry around 2 words. But you need to identify which is the supporting word and which is the main answer. Your main answer must be left open. If you bracket the main answer, then your answer is incorrect. Please, do you understand?
You said something before that you don't apply it, you don't try to do it. Don't try. That's what you said about not putting your S.
That's for no more than 1 word.
Okay.
1 word
For reading.
for reading.
Which is not that much.
Which is good.
I don't want that.
Okay.
Sometimes it comes at the last.
The 1 word answer.
Section 4.
I can also come in section 2 as well.
So you don't need to do brackets there.
For 1 word, any section that says no more than 1 word, don't bring in brackets around any answer. Write the answer the way it is. But in section that says no more than 2 words and or a number, you can bring in the bracketry. You understand this? The reason the bracketry is being considered is because no more than 2 words does not mean your answer must be 2 words all through. Don't forget this. When an instruction says no more than 2 words, it doesn't mean your answer must be two words all through. No. It simply means do not exceed 2 words. However, your answer can be a 1-word answer. It can be a 2 words answer, but don't exceed 2 words.
No, the right answer, you don't put it in brackets.
Your main answer? No. So if you understand that your answer can be a 1-word answer or a 2-word maximum under instruction that says no more than 2 words, then you want to also consider how am I 101% sure that this particular question needs only 1 word as answer when instruction says 2 words, no more than 2 words. That's why we now say, okay, to play safe, let me write the 2 words that I have factored out to be the best answer. Now, when I write the 2 words, out of these 2 words, this is the main answer. This one is supporting this main answer. So let me put a supporting word in bracket.
Okay, there's something I yesterday. I saw visual image. When I was doing visual image, and my man told me to pick up that image. I wrote image there.
That's why it's visual.
So how do you go about it?
It is the question.
So
You must
have to bracket one. That is why I asked. You have to bracket. I think I wrote that video. Then I need to write it and bracket one.
if you find out that, okay, the good thing is you found where the answer
Yes,
was, right? Visual image. Now, since you've discovered that the answer is visual image, and the instruction says no more than 2 words, right?
Yes, it's like
Maybe no more than 1 word. If it says no more than 1 word, out of visual and image, one of them must be the only answer you should write. You cannot write 2 words and put 1 in bracket under no more than 1 word. Everything is messed up. It's only when it says no more than 2 words, that's where 2 words can be accommodated, and bracketry will cover 1 to play safe for you. And I'm still emphasizing, when you identify the two words under this level of instruction, decide or determine which is the main answer. And it's a question that helps you to determine it. If the question is asking about the type of image that children should use to learn, then it's no longer the image now. It is the visual image. So your answer is visual. But image is a supporting word because even in the question, image is mentioned. What type of image are children expected to use to enhance their learning? It is a visual image. I don't know if you understand. So that's how to apply the bracket trick in reading tests. Same way we learned it 2 days ago during the listening test. It might also be no more than 3 words and or a bracket. So here, what do? You are also considering the no more than 3 words and or a number. Now, what does this instruction mean? No more than 3 words and a number. It doesn't compel you by any means to write three words under all through the list of questions under that section. This instruction does not compel you to write 3 words all through. It's only emphasizing on to not write beyond 3 words. However, note that your answer can be a 1-word answer. It can be 1 word and or a number. It can be a 2 words answer. It can be 2 words and a number. It can be a 3 words answer. It can be 3 words and a number answer. But do not exceed 3 words.
Like listening.
Like in listening. Now, how do you then ascertain?
You cannot put it in bracket, right?
How do you ascertain that this particular number needs 1 word or 2 words or 3 words? That's where the bracket trick comes. So when you get your 3-word answer, first thing, you have gotten an answer that is in consonance with the instruction. Then, out of the 3 words answer, you also need to determine the most appropriate answer. Then, identify the ones that are supporting that appropriate answer. So when you identify the supporting answers to the major one, put those supporting words in individual brackets. Don't put 2 words in 1 bracket. It's going to annul your answer. So put the 2 supporting words in separate brackets, individual brackets. Then leave your primary answer open. So when this happens, what you have done practically is you have given the examiners options. If you need only my primary answer, which I've left open to you, that's what it is. Please mark for me. If you need these supporting words that I left in brackets to be part of my primary answer, please, everything is right there. Someone might be thinking right now, what if I put all my answers in brackets? If you put all answers in brackets, you don't have no answer at all. You have told the examiner, I don't know what you need. Anyone you want, choose. And that's not your agreement when you are enrolling for the exam. The agreement is, give me your answer, I mark for you. Right? So that's how to go when you are treating no more than 3 words and or a number. So let's go to tips. right. So right here we have two tips we are going to talk about or look into. The first tip right here says always read the instruction for each section carefully before starting or attempting any question. Before starting or attempting any question. Okay, always read the instruction for each section carefully before starting or attempting any question. Oops. Okay, there is a mix up here. I already have it right here. Okay, I think it's correct right now. Always read the instruction for each section carefully before starting or attempting any question. Why is it important? Why is that tip necessary? Now, this tip is not limited to reading tests alone. It is, as a matter of fact, what should be obtainable and practiced by any test taker, irrespective of the exam you're writing. Be it high school exam, university, college, whatever type of exam you're writing, Ielts exam. It is very important and necessary for you to read the instruction before you start answering it. Now, let's understand reasons for this. Number one, written instructions before starting or attempting any question or section will help you to understand what you are expected to do. Same thing applies in IELTS. So when you read the instruction, you understand if you are to merge heading to particular paragraph. Reading the instruction will help you to know if your answer should come in the letters of the alphabet. Do you understand this? If your answer should come in the letters of the alphabet, whether your answer should be in A or B or C. Do you understand? You have a list of options. So we want you to write answers to questions 16 to 18, choosing whether your answer is A or B or C. Is it clear? It will also help you to know if your answer should come in the Roman numerals. You know what that means? If your answer should come in I. I. Do you understand this?
That question is always confusing.
You are going to have list of paragraphs, for instance, and then you have list of headings or ideas or philosophies or list of innovators or inventors. Do you understand this? Now, you are meant to read each paragraph and identify the innovator or inventor or researcher or scientist or the saying that this particular paragraph can be credited to. Is it clear? You are expected to identify which of the researchers say something about that paragraph. Which of the inventors invented what is discussed in that paragraph. So maybe the list of researchers were numbered I. So their names are written. So when you read paragraph A, paragraph B, paragraph C. So when you read paragraph A, perhaps tweet number 16 is expecting you to give answer to A. What does A represent here? This A in 60, what does it represent?
Paragraph what?
It represents paragraph A. So when you read paragraph A, you are meant to go through the list of the inventors or scientists or researchers and identify which of them gave information that is discussed here. So if it is this scientist, your answer to on your answer paper, your answer to number 16 will be I. That's all. Do you understand this? When you read paragraph B, if the researcher is that gave this idea or that invented what is discussed here happen to be this researcher, that means your answer to number 17, which is B, which is paragraph B, is simply I. Is it clear to you?
I'm processing it.
So it's just as simple as that. When you read this and the examiner or the scientist that found whatever that is being discussed in paragraph C happens to be the last researcher.
The name will be mentioned in the Roman field, right? That's how you
No,
put together.
these are the numbering of the researchers. These are different researchers, names of different researchers.
Yes, to match.
So you are now to identify this researcher. Maybe the name of this researcher is Baynard. Here is Schwarzenegger. Here is Hendrich. And here is Automasuk. Maybe Automasuk. So, paragraph A, which of these guys invented what he's talking about? If it is Automasuk, that means your answer will be IV. That's all.
In the question, right?
On your answer paper.
But in the question, you'll be able to get which of these that invented this.
Yes, these are paragraphs. Paragraphs contain information now written. So in this paragraph, they may have discussed a particular invention. Talked about where it was invented, the name of the scientist that invented it, what the invention is all about, what it's used for, how many it was invented, how it solved problem. So now, question would ask you, the question will now ask you, which of the following researchers invented the ideas discussed in the paragraphs? So number 16, if it's talking about a particular innovation that is used for maybe helping people to sleep without necessarily stressing themselves for sleep to come. There's a particular researcher that talked about that created something. It may be here, this may be the paragraph that talked about sleep. So if it is, then if the name of the researcher that is identified here happens to be Schwarzenegger, then your answer is I. It's very simple. Okay. So that's the way to go. Reading instruction will help you to know if you are to pick two answers from the list of options given. If you have options A, B, C, and D, and you are to answer questions 13 and question 14, picking your answers from here. If it says pick any two correct letters from the list of options, letter A to D, for questions 13 and 14, pick any two correct answers. Now, once the instruction says any two correct answers from the list of options, letters A to D, it doesn't require you to arrange your answers C first before D, or B first before C. It doesn't require you to arrange your answers chronologically. The instruction says any. So you can have D here, and then have a. Because the instruction says pick any. Please, do you understand this? But if the instruction says from the list of answers provided, from the options lettered from the options or list of options lettered A to C, pick the two correct letters or answers for questions 13 and 14. It doesn't make reference to any. It says pick the two correct letters. At this point, your answer must be orderly. Please, do you understand? At this point, your answer must be orderly. As long as it didn't say pick any, it says pick the two correct letters. So that means the two correct letters, you have A, B, C, D. So out of this A, B, C, D, it's either the answer will be A and B, or A and C, or B and C, or A and. So you must arrange them. Please, do you understand? So instruction will help you to know that. Instruction will also help you to understand if you can get two answers from a particular paragraph. If two answers can come from one paragraph, the instruction will help you to understand that. And for that to happen, always read the instruction. You will see something like this. So once instruction says not before, you may use any letter more than once. It means a paragraph will solve two different questions. Always look at that. But if this is not indicated in your instruction, it means a paragraph solves a question. Please, do you understand this?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So these are major things you want to know when it comes to reading your instructions. They help you to get prepared. They give you prior knowledge about what they expect you to do in the test. So let's go to the next tip right here, which is Q's plus P plus Q equal A. Q's plus P plus Q equal A. What does this mean? It simply interprets the fact that your reading text should take the processes of or steps of reading questions first. After reading your instruction and you've understood what you are supposed to do, the next thing you are expected to do is to go through the questions next. Now, going through the questions doesn't mean questions 1 to 40. No. It means there is a list of questions under that particular section you are choosing about. There might be 5 questions, 6 questions. So you are advised strongly to read those questions. Now, when you are reading the questions, do not read them more than once. Don't read those questions more than once. Read only once. What are you reading for? You are not reading to understand the question. You are not reading to cram the question. Rather, you are reading to pick out the keywords in the question. Now, why do you need to pick out those keywords? Read only once. Once you're going through the questions under the section you want to choose, read the questions only once. And when you're reading, do not read to cram the questions. Do not read to understand the question. Read to pick out the keywords in each question. Why? This is because the keywords in each question are going to be paraphrased in the passage. They are the things that will be paraphrased in the passage. And when you go through the passage and you are able to decipher or decode that this is the paraphrase of the keywords in the question, around that particular section you have just discovered lies your answer. Please, do you understand this? So, read the entire 4, 5, 6 questions under that particular section. Read each question once, and once you are reading each question, identify the keywords. When you find the keyword, you either underline it or circle it. If you're doing computer-based tests, you highlight it. Highlight the keywords. If you're doing paper-based tests, underline or circle them. Please, do you understand this? Now, when you have done that for all the 4, 5, 6 questions under that particular section, you then go to the passage to read.
You have to read all the questions.
Under the particular section you are choosing at each point. And identify the keywords there. Highlight them, underline them, circle them, whatever you're going to do. Right. Now you then go to the passage. You read through the passage. Skim through the passage.
I'm a little confused. When you are reading those questions, what are the answers? You go through the answer.
You haven't found the answer yet.
No, what I mean, that question, not the passage. That questions, not the answer. Just look at the questions, don't look at the answers.
What answers?
What I mean by you have a question.
You have questions?
Yes. You have options A, B, C to pick up something.
No. Okay, if you're actually treating multiple choice questions, right?
Yes.
Questions that carry A, B, C. Then
Like
question A,
what
B,
you
C.
said, matching, I think it's matching headings now.
Yes.
I get a matching headings and you now read the question. Then you have something under it. I don't know
No.
if I can get.
Matching heading does not come down.
Can I get one of the ones I brought and show you what I mean?
Okay, then let me explain.
Because you are there now.
I think what you're treating is
The same that question is what I'm asking.
okay.
Please.
Okay, is there another one?
Because I'm saying, I said they do something like this, not true of course. The questions now. Like this one now, okay, this one now. What I said, I have to read these things now.
Yes, you have to read these headings. These are headings. So when you read each heading, you either identify the keyword here or you give it a summary based on your own understanding. Then you go to the question, the passage, and read. So as you're reading each passage, it will definitely prick your mind that this particular question is about this paragraph here.
That is what you mean by that thing.
That's the passage now. Do you understand? So, you after reading the questions and identifying the keywords, you then go to the passage or paragraphs and read. So as you're reading each paragraph, you definitely realize that okay, this particular information I'm seeing here is relating to the keyword I underlined in question 1. So at that point, what you do at that particular information or paragraph, use your pen or pencil and rule the whole of it. Is a potential answer. Do you understand me? Is a potential answer. So once you have identified, you continue reading. As you keep reading and you're getting more information about something you have seen somewhere around the question section, you underline. Keep doing, keep underlining, keep identifying, keep underlining, keep relating, keep underlining. So once you're done reading the whole passage and doing all your underlinings, now you go back to the questions. You now go back to the questions to answer the questions. So when you go back to the questions, you're not going to read all the questions like you did at the first instance. You're You're not going to take on the questions one particular. So you read question 1. When you read question 1, you go back to the passage. When you go back to the passage, you are not reading through the passage again. You're not going to scan through those areas you underlined, through those areas you highlighted, through those areas you circled. You don't scan through them to get your answer. Do you understand this explanation? So that's what you do. So read question, go to the passage, read those highlighted or underlined or circled areas, you get your answer. Go to the next question, go back to the passage, identify the possible answer, right. That's what you do. So that's how to go about the tips. Please, do you understand this? So let's go to techniques.
So you highlight the answer when you're reading the passage.
Yes, please. Okay. So right here on the board, we have the techniques you should apply when you're taking on your reading test. So these techniques include paraphrase, skimming, underlining, scanning, jotting, labeling, or making notes, and then ruling or crossing out. Please, I need a black ink. So these are the major techniques you want to apply when you are taking on your reading test. So let's take on them one after another. Red or blue or green. So let's begin with paraphrase. We're not going to dwell so much on paraphrase. We did that yesterday. So it's practically the same. So paraphrasing a reading test is the practice of the Ielts authors or essay composers or passage writers. The practice of using synonyms of the words in a passage to write or ask questions. Does this make sense? The practice of using the synonyms of the information in the passage to draft your questions. So when you read your question, don't expect to see those exact words in the questions when you go to your passage. They won't use those words. They're going to use their synonyms in the passage. So if you already have good understanding of this, it will make it easier for you to decode or decipher that this is a paraphrase of that word used in the passage. Please, do you understand this? So it's easier for you. So they tend to paraphrase the words in the passage to figures when they're asking you the question. They tend to use figures and change them to words when they're asking the question. When your passage has fractions or percentages, they tend to ask questions and use by using words or figures and every other approach that we learned yesterday. Okay? Skimming. What is skimming? Skimming is a fast reading technique. Skimming is a fast reading technique of going through passages or information. Skimming is a fast reading technique of going through a passage or an information with the primary aims or objectives of completing your reading.
Aims or objectives.
Yes, or objectives of completing your reading within the time frame and having a grasp of what you have read. And having a grasp of what you have read. Taken? So, if you really want to complete your reading when you're taking your reading test, the reading approach you should consider is what we call skimming. This is what you need if you want to complete your reading within the time frame that you're in. You apply the skimming technique. Now let's look at underlining. When you are skimming, because you are not spending so much time to process, digest what you're reading, because you don't have all the luxury of time, you are reading at a very fast pace. So what do you need to help you remember things that you read is underlining.
Keywords.
Underlining. So you are underlining both the keywords and vital information that you feel are potential answers.
And data, yes.
Data, statistics.
And names of
Those are information you need to underline. So what is underlining? Underlining is a reading technique of ruling under words or phrases or sentences that you find to be potential answers to questions. Right? So you really need to do that so you won't spend a lot of your time going over a passage. You don't have all the time. Okay. Now let's look at scanning. What is scanning? Scanning is a reading technique of spotlighting or searching through an information with the sole aim of locating where an information or answer is situated. Now, what does this mean? You make use of scanning to do what? To find your answers. Primarily. So you don't scan to understand. You don't scan to digest. You only scan to locate. So what are you scanning? What you usually scan? You scan those underlined or highlighted information. That's what you scan. You scan those underlined or circled or highlighted information in the passage. When do you usually scan? When you are looking for your answers. So you are like, you just read the question and something struck your mind that I saw something like this and you are scanning. So okay, that's it. Scanning. So you are not reading to understand. Do you understand this? So let's go next to jotting, labeling, or making notes. Jotting, labeling, or making notes are reading techniques. Jotting, labeling, or making notes are reading techniques that are used to either give tags, comma, title, comma, either give tags, comma, titles, comma, themes, theme, themes, comma, captions, comma, or topic or topics. Two paragraphs read based on your understanding of the particular paragraph. So, jotting, labeling, or making notes are reading techniques that help test takers to give tags, titles, captions, themes, topics to each paragraph read based on your understanding. So when you read each paragraph, you are supposed to have this deciphered or decoded the information that particular paragraph is trying to pass across. Is that correct? So whatever it is that you picked from it, in your own words, give a tag. Just give a title beside the paragraph. Let's assume that this is a paragraph. You are done reading everything here. So what do I understand from this? In my own words, I'll write it around here. This is my caption for this paragraph. This is my theme. This is my title. This is my topic for this paragraph. Do you understand this? So when you do this for each of the paragraphs you have read, it will help you to answer matching headings very easily. Because when you go to those headings, when you read each heading, go through the titles you are giving paragraphs, you will see that one of them must be very related to what you have done. So you won't start going through different headings to search for different paragraphs. No. It will just help you to connect your heading, your own heading, to the heading written on your question paper. And it helps you to do this fast. Right? Ruling or crossing out. Ruling or crossing out are time management techniques. Ruling or crossing out are your time management techniques. They help you to manage your time and also reduce areas of search for answers. They help you to manage your time and also reduce your areas of search for answers. Do you understand this? So let's understand how ruling or crossing out plays out. When you are reading a passage, of course, passages are composed in paragraphs. Now, when you read the different paragraphs, maybe they may be, perhaps they may be written and labeled A, B, C, D, the paragraphs. And then after that, you are required to identify the information. To identify a particular information, which is a question that is discussed in one of those paragraphs. Maybe the questions are different information. So you are meant to identify this information, where can I find it, or which paragraph, which of these paragraphs talks about this information, right? So when you read the first information, you really need to go and check through the paragraphs to identify the appropriate one, right? So when you read your first paragraph, for instance, I don't find it here. You read your second paragraph, I don't find it. You read your third paragraph and you find it. That means, let's say this is A, B, C. So your answer becomes C. You go and write your C, right? Then you read the second information. You come back here to answer. If you read here, you don't find it. You read here, you don't find it. You have to read here. If you don't find it, you go down. Then you find it, you write your D. Is that correct? Now, the ruling crossing out or ruling or crossing out technique, what it does for you is the fact that this has given you an answer. That was the first answer we got, right? C. The fact that this C has given you an answer, you are supposed to apply the ruling or crossing out technique.
You don't look into that anymore for an answer.
Exactly.
Based on the instructions.
Yes. So when you're looking for the next answer, if this does not give you an answer, this you go through this. If this does not give you an answer, you automatically skip this guy because it has solved the question, right? So you come back here. But the initial time for someone who does not know it previously, if you don't know about ruling or crossing out, you will be forced to go through this same information that has already answered the question. And by the time you read to the last part of the paragraph, it then occurs to you that, oh, this guy, I just read it. So by that time you spent is wasted. Please, do you understand this? So that's why we call it your time management technique.
What the instruction says, you may use any letter more than once.
You can still apply it. You can still apply this.
So you work with the instructions.
Yes, you can still apply this ruling out technique. Yes. Now, that instruction, right, plays out very well, but answers do not follow each other immediately. Maybe number one will come from C, number two will come from C. If number one can come from C, number two will come from a different question. Number three may come from even a different question. Then number four will come back to this C. Do you understand what I'm trying to do?
That means you're picking the C twice.
Yes, you are picking the C twice. Now, for the fact that the first answer came from C and you apply this, fine. Second answer will not come from this C. So you have given a signal that this C is taken first. So I need to go through others. It's only when I don't find them there, when I don't find the answer in others, then I have to come back here. Coming back here, the ruling or crossing out sign does not tear off the information there. You can still read through. Is that correct? So, but the primary aim or purpose of doing this is to help you know that this has solved the question. So let me focus on others. Then I'll come back to it if need be. So by the time this gives you another answer, you apply it. So when you apply it, what happens? You are not left with two more places to be searching for answers. So it helps you to manage your time and reduce your areas of search for answers. Do you understand now? So these are the important keys you should hold on to.
What about if you don't find anything there?
Pardon?
You don't find anything there.
If you go through all the
Yes.
paragraphs.
I mean the one that you
Okay.
you don't see any information there. You can also read.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Because in passages, not all paragraphs are relevant. Not all paragraphs give you answers. So that's true.
also
Yes, you wrote that out. All right, so that's it. We shall go to the next stage.